but we have 2 licenses, and when we got our driver's license, we each had to take the test. We both passed. We wanted to do this documentary so people wouldn't have to always stare and take pictures, because we don't like when they take pictures, so they just knew who we are.
In a world where reality often stretches the bounds of imagination, few stories captivate the public's attention like that of Abby and Brittany Hensel. Conjoined twins, born with 2 heads and 1 shared body, they've fascinated doctors, baffled skeptics, and inspired millions with their defiance of medical odds. But now, years after slipping from the media spotlight, the Hensel twins are back, and the internet is in a frenzy. A cryptic TikTok video, a sudden wedding reveal, and a jaw-dropping message reading "Married and baby on the way" have left the public gasping for answers. Could it be true? Is one of the world's most unique pairs of conjoined twins now pregnant? What began as a quiet moment of family celebration has erupted into a storm of speculation. The clip was just 30 seconds long. No narration, no confirmation, just a visual montage of wedding snapshots and domestic bliss. Yet, in the age of instant reaction, those seconds were all it took to light up social media with a flood of congratulatory messages, heated debates, and even hate-fueled outrage. Are we witnessing history in the making, or has the internet once again spiraled into wild conjecture? The story of Abby and Brittany isn't just about biology or rarity, it's about resilience, privacy, and the fine line between public interest and personal boundaries. From their humble beginnings in a small Minnesota town to international fame on Oprah and TLC, the Hensel twins have built a life on their terms. But this latest twist, the possibility of motherhood, has triggered a new wave of curiosity, not all of it kind. So who is the man who married 1 twin but lives with both? How do they navigate marriage, intimacy, and the scrutiny of a relentless online audience? And most importantly, can conjoined twins even have a baby? Tonight, we dive deep into the lives of Abby and Brittany Hensel, past the headlines, beyond the rumors, and explore a tale that's not just strange, but profoundly human. It was November 18th, 2024, when a simple, silent 30-second TikTok sent shockwaves across the digital world. The account belonged to Abby and Brittany Hensel, conjoined twins whose lives had once fascinated global audiences, but who had since chosen a quieter, more private existence. With no warning and no caption, the video emerged, a soft slideshow of intimate wedding photos, heartfelt moments, and a closing title card that stopped viewers in their tracks: "Married and baby on the way." No explanation, no voiceover, just those 6 electrifying words. And with that, the internet caught fire. Within hours, the video had racked up tens of thousands of views and comments. Fans were stunned. Supporters flooded the comment section with congratulations and warm wishes, while skeptics and critics demanded answers. Some hailed the twins for their bravery. Others called the video misleading. But for Abby and Brittany, the message was clear. They were living life on their terms. For the public, however, the speculation had only just begun. Among the reactions, one user wrote, "Congratulations on being pregnant. You'll make amazing moms." Another added, "Mom, Dad, and Auntie? How amazing!" But amid the joy came hostility, cruel comments about their anatomy, about what's normal, and even the ethics of starting a family in such a unique circumstance. The backlash was swift, brutal, and deeply personal. But Abby and Brittany didn't back down. In March 2025, they responded in another TikTok post, clapping back at the haters with a now viral quote: "If you don't like what I do, but watch everything I'm doing, you're still a fan." The message was overlaid on pictures of the sisters with Abby's husband, Josh Bowling, all smiling, all unbothered. Hashtag Forever Fans. And just like that, a new chapter began, not just in their lives, but in the public's perception. Because while the world scrambled to piece together the mystery of who was pregnant, if anyone was pregnant at all, the Hensel twins quietly reminded us that not every story is ours to demand. And sometimes, the most powerful statements come not through words, but through silence. In the wake of their surprise wedding reveal, one question echoed across every social media platform and comment thread: Who is the man who married Abby Hensel, and what does that relationship really look like? His name is Josh Bowling, and although his identity was once shrouded in mystery, he's no longer a stranger to the spotlight. A nurse by profession and a U.S. Army veteran, Josh entered the Hensel twins' orbit not as a curious outsider, but as someone who saw beyond the medical headlines, past the societal taboos, and into the shared soul of two extraordinary women. According to court records later obtained by reporters, Josh Bowling and Abby Hensel were legally wed in 2021, a quiet ceremony carefully kept from public view. It wasn't until 2024, 3 years later, that fans got their first glimpse of that sacred day. The photo shared on TikTok showed Josh in a tailored gray suit, flanked by the Hensel twins, both radiant in a single wedding gown. The image, now their Facebook profile picture, sent a clear message. This was not a stunt. This was family. But how does a relationship like this work in practice? For many, the idea of loving one person physically joined to another sparks confusion, if not controversy. Yet for those closest to them, Josh's bond with both Abby and Brittany is as respectful as it is revolutionary. He is known to spend time with each sister individually, building rapport, honoring their differences, and navigating the emotional nuances of a shared life with deliberate care. Josh is also a father. From a previous marriage, he has a daughter, Isabella, age 8, who now calls Abby her stepmom. In one particularly touching image posted online, Isabella is seen embracing both twins with a child's unfiltered affection, her face beaming with joy. Vacation snapshots show the new family together, relaxed, united, and, despite the world's questions, completely comfortable in their new dynamic. Still, public interest remains relentless. Is Josh married to Abby only, or to both in spirit? Does Brittany feel included, or is she a third wheel in her sister's marriage? The truth, however complex, lies somewhere in between. While the legal contract names Abby, the lived reality speaks to something more holistic. An arrangement built not on appearances, but on trust, mutual respect, and the rare kind of intimacy that transcends convention. As the headlines continue to swirl and fans clamor for answers, one thing becomes increasingly clear. Josh Bowling isn't just the man who married a conjoined twin, he's the man who chose to rewrite what love, family, and loyalty can look like. As speculation swirls around Abby and Brittany Hensel's cryptic "baby on the way" post, one fundamental question sits at the heart of public curiosity. Is it even possible for conjoined twins like Abby and Brittany to become pregnant? The answer, according to medical science, is complicated, but not impossible. Abby and Brittany are dicophalic parapagus twins, a rare form of conjoined twinning in which two heads share a single torso. While each twin has her own brain, spinal column, heart, and lungs, the reproductive system is shared. They have one uterus, one set of ovaries, and one set of external reproductive organs. In clinical terms, that means if a pregnancy were to occur, it would biologically involve just one of the twins, most likely Abby, who is legally married. But because of their shared body, the experience, the responsibility, and the physical impact would be shared by both. The scientific community has long debated the logistics of pregnancy in such cases. Historically, successful pregnancies among conjoined twins are exceedingly rare. The most widely documented case involves a pair of conjoined twins who were surgically separated in early childhood. One twin later went on to deliver a healthy baby at the University of Washington Medical Center in 2021. But for fused twins, those who remain physically connected, there is virtually no precedent for a full-term pregnancy. Still, modern medicine offers cautious optimism. The fact that Abby and Brittany share many vital systems, including a uterus and circulatory system, means that conception is physiologically possible. Fertility itself is not in question. What remains uncertain are the practicalities, how the body would respond to pregnancy, how the twins would manage discomfort, and how doctors would monitor the health of both twins and the baby throughout gestation. Legal and ethical questions further complicate the picture. Who would be listed as the legal mother? How would custody laws interpret such a case? Could the birth set a precedent for future conjoined twin pregnancies? These are inquiries no court has ever had to answer because such a case has never been tested. Then there's the emotional reality. Brittany has stated in past interviews that they absolutely want to be mothers one day. Abby echoed that sentiment, once saying, "We're going to be moms. We just don't want to explain how it's going to work yet." Their determination is unwavering, but so is their desire for privacy. It's important to understand that speculation, no matter how well-intentioned, can cross into invasive territory. This isn't just about medical feasibility. It's about autonomy, dignity, and the right to define one's own family on one's own terms. So while fans continue to wonder and science continues to catch up, the truth remains veiled, held close by two sisters who've spent their entire lives defying expectations. If motherhood is truly on their horizon, then the world may soon witness a medical and emotional milestone unlike anything before it.
To understand the magnitude of what Abby and Brittany Hensel have achieved and what may lie ahead, you first have to understand the extraordinary body they share. From the outside, it may seem like one body with two heads, but anatomically, the reality is far more intricate. Their condition, known as dicosalic parapagus twinning, is one of the rarest and most complex forms of conjoined twinning known to modern medicine. Each twin possesses a fully developed head and brain, along with individual spinal cords that run parallel before merging near the pelvis. They have two hearts beating side by side, two sets of lungs, 4 in total, and separate stomachs, gallbladders, and small intestines. But from the liver downward, their bodies largely function as one. They share a liver, a large intestine, a single reproductive system, one bladder, and one colon. Their rib cages are fused, as are parts of their spines and sternums. Even their sense of touch is divided. Abby feels everything on the right side, Brittany on the left, with a subtle overlap along the center line of their torso. What's perhaps most remarkable is how seamlessly they've adapted. They walk in perfect rhythm. They type on a keyboard using synchronized motions. They swim, ride bicycles, and even play piano. Abby controlling the right-hand notes, Brittany the left. When driving, Abby manages the gas and brake pedals while Brittany handles the turn signal. Together, they steer in unison. It's a level of cooperation most twins can only dream of. Their skeletal structure also tells a tale of biological compromise. At birth, they had a third, undeveloped arm positioned between their heads. Surgeons removed it during infancy, leaving behind only a small shoulder blade. Abby's spine continued growing for longer than Brittany's, making her slightly taller and giving the illusion that her sister is shrinking, a difference amplified by Brittany's naturally shorter leg, which causes her to walk tiptoe on one side. These details, while medically minor, are crucial in understanding the physical coordination the twins must maintain every single day. In 2002, they underwent a critical surgery to correct scoliosis and expand their chest cavity, an intervention designed not just for comfort but for survival. Without it, doctors feared that breathing complications could shorten their lives. Instead, the twins recovered and thrived, once again surpassing what science thought possible. Their anatomy, though heavily studied and dissected by medical experts, remains deeply personal. In a now viral TikTok from December 2024, molecular biologist Hashem Al-Gai detailed their inner physiology, breaking down everything from lung formation to pelvic structure. The video, while medically accurate, reignited public curiosity and, for many, crossed a boundary the twins have fought to maintain: the right to not be treated like a living anatomy exhibit. Ultimately, Abby and Brittany Hensel are not medical miracles. They are individuals navigating a life far more complex than most can comprehend. Their physiology is rare, yes, but it's not their bodies that define them. It's their courage to keep living on their own terms, no matter how loudly the world demands a closer look. Abby and Brittany Hensel never asked for fame, but from the moment they were born on March 7, 1990 in Carver County, Minnesota, their lives became a global curiosity. Doctors, journalists, and
and strangers alike were captivated by their condition. But what the world didn't expect was that these conjoined twins would not just survive, they would thrive. Their parents, Patty, a registered nurse, and Mike Hensel, a carpenter, were faced with an impossible decision. Medical professionals offered the option of surgical separation. The odds were slim, and the risks were devastating. One or both of the twins could die. Mike's voice cracked when he told reporters, "How could you pick between the two?" In the end, the Hensels made a life-altering choice. They would not separate their daughters. They chose life together. As the twins grew, so did their story. They reached developmental milestones in unison, crawling, walking, learning to ride a bike. Their coordination was stunning. Despite two brains operating one body, they functioned with a synergy that defied logic. News outlets soon caught wind of the miracle unfolding in Minnesota. By the time they were 6, Abby and Brittany had already captured the national spotlight. They appeared on The Oprah Winfrey Show in 1996, charming audiences with their candor and curiosity. That same month, they were featured on the cover of Life magazine under the powerful headline, "One 2000s, their journey had become one of the most closely followed human interest stories in the world. Television networks documented their adolescence in detail. In 2002, the Discovery Health Channel aired Joined for Life, a medical documentary chronicling their growth and daily challenges. 3 years later, ABC released another feature with the same title, expanding the public's understanding of the girls as more than just a medical marvel. They were ambitious, articulate, and deeply relatable. But it was the 2012 TLC reality show, Abby and Brittany, that brought the sisters to a new level of fame. Then, 22 years old and fresh out of college, the twins allowed cameras to follow them through their transition into adulthood, graduating from Bethel University with education degrees, traveling across Europe, and preparing for their teaching careers. The series gave viewers unprecedented access to their emotional lives, showing moments of frustration, independence, and pure joy. Audiences were captivated not by their condition, but by their confidence. In interviews during the series, they made one thing clear: they didn't want to be pitied or portrayed as inspirational figures. "People have been curious about us since we were born," Abby said, "but our parents never let us use that as an excuse." Brittany added, "We were raised to believe we could do anything we wanted to do." That belief carried them far. Despite the countless headlines and interviews, the twins maintained tight control over their narrative. They turned down invasive media offers and kept a close circle of trust. Fame was never the goal. It was simply a byproduct of being extraordinary in a world obsessed with normal. As their public profile grew, the Hensels continued to defy expectations. They took jobs as elementary school teachers, splitting one salary between them, but teaching as a unified team. To the children they educated, they weren't curiosities. They were just Miss Abby and Miss Brittany, two patient, kind, and brilliant teachers. Their rise to fame wasn't about the cameras or the accolades. It was about representation, showing the world that individuality isn't confined to a single body. They became living proof that two people could share a life, a career, and a dream, and do so with grace and dignity. And yet, even after all these years in the spotlight, the Hensels have retained one powerful privilege: the right to choose what parts of their lives remain theirs and theirs alone. Long after the camera crews packed up and the media buzz faded, Abby and Brittany Hensel did something truly radical. They lived a normal life, or at least their version of normal. While the world kept peering in, hoping for headlines, the Hensel twins built a quiet routine centered around service, family, and purpose. In a small Minnesota town, far from the prying eyes of Hollywood or medical conferences, they became something few expected: elementary school teachers. After graduating from Bethel University in 2012 with degrees in education, the twins took a job teaching 4th and 5th grade at Sunnyside Elementary School. The logistics of hiring conjoined teachers may have seemed daunting to outsiders, but to the children in their classroom,
Abby and Brittany were simply the teachers. In an arrangement as unique as their anatomy, they share one job, one classroom, and one paycheck, split evenly just like everything else. Yet their teaching styles are distinctly their own. Abby leans toward math and science, thriving in the precision and structure of formulas and facts. Brittany, on the other hand, brings a love for reading, writing, and the creative arts. Together, they form a kind of pedagogical dream team, each complementing the other in skill and temperament. It's not unusual to see one leading a math game while the other guides a poetry circle, all within the same fluid lesson. They also face daily challenges that go far beyond lesson plans. Clothing, for instance, must be specially tailored. 2 necklines, 1 body. Their meals must strike a balance between convenience and preference, and public spaces still pose problems. Stares, whispers, and unsolicited questions follow them wherever they go. Yet, they never let that define them. "We hate being photographed without our consent," they've said, but they've also expressed gratitude for the understanding community around them, neighbors, co-workers, and students who know them simply as Abby and Brittany, not the twins. Their personal lives, however, continue to stir intrigue. When news broke of Abby's marriage to Josh Bowling, many assumed Brittany had been pushed to the background, but those closest to the couple describe a far more complex, compassionate relationship, one where Brittany is fully present and supported, not left behind. Photos show her smiling at family events, participating in vacation outings, and clearly still central to Abby's world. This balance between shared space and individual identity defines everything they do. When replying to emails, they coordinate responses. When choosing outfits, they alternate decisions. Even their grammar reflects their unique dynamic. They use I when speaking as one, and their individual names when their opinions diverge. It's subtle, but it's a statement of personhood, a reminder that 2 people truly reside within one body. For Abby and Brittany, teaching is more than a job. It's a mission. They've said before that they want to be role models, not for how they look, but for how they live. And in classrooms filled with curious kids who ask questions without judgment, they're doing exactly that. Not as symbols or anomalies, but as educators, daughters, sisters, wives, and women choosing to live boldly in a world that still doesn't quite know how to look away. The phrase "baby on the way" ignited a digital wildfire. But as weeks passed with no official confirmation from Abby and Brittany Hensel, speculation only deepened. Was this a subtle pregnancy announcement, a clever social media stunt, or something else entirely? In the absence of clarity, the internet did what it always does. It filled in the blanks, often with more imagination than information. The TikTok clip that launched it all showed wedding photos, family moments, and a warm domestic scene. But the final frame, simple, bold, and uncaptioned, read, "Married and baby on the way." No elaboration, no follow-up, just a wave of comments flooding in with everything from excitement to suspicion. Some fans celebrated instantly, offering blessings and well wishes for a healthy delivery. Others demanded answers, raising logistical and ethical questions the twins never invited. From a medical perspective, the question is both unprecedented and uncharted. As dicophalic parapagus twins, Abby and Brittany share one reproductive system. Theoretically, pregnancy is possible, but no known case of a fused conjoined twin pregnancy has ever been documented to date. 2 famous exceptions exist, but they involved either separated conjoined twins or extraordinarily unique anatomies. The only verified birth involving conjoined twins took place in 2021, when a woman who had been separated from her twin in infancy gave birth at the same hospital where she was born. Her case, while remarkable, was not physiologically comparable to Abby and Brittany's situation. This makes the possibility of a shared body pregnancy one of the rarest hypothetical scenarios in modern medicine. Experts have also weighed in on the legal gray areas.
If a child were to be born, who would be the legal mother? How would parental rights be assigned? Would both twins be considered legal guardians, or only Abby, who holds the marriage license? These aren't just philosophical dilemmas, they're real structural gaps in law and medicine with no precedent to draw from. Still, for Abby and Brittany, the bigger issue isn't biology, it's privacy. Throughout their lives, they've been deliberate in what they share. In 2013, they stated plainly that they hope to be mothers one day. Brittany even joked, "We're going to be great moms." But they also made it clear, how that would happen was nobody's business but theirs. And so, the mystery lingers. Is a baby truly on the way? Or was it a metaphor, a joke, or a social experiment in how quickly people leap to conclusions about unusual bodies? No one outside their inner circle knows for sure. What is certain, though, is this. The twins haven't addressed the speculation since. They haven't confirmed, denied, or clarified. Their silence is either calculated or comforting, or perhaps a bit of both. Because after decades of being examined like case studies, Abby and Brittany may have decided that some chapters of their story deserve to be lived, not televised. In a world that never stops watching, Abby and Brittany Hensel have done something extraordinary. They've continued to live, not as spectacles, not as symbols, but as sisters, teachers, daughters, and women writing their own story. From a quiet Minnesota town to the cover of Life magazine, from viral documentaries to their deeply personal wedding reveal, the Hensel twins have always walked the tightrope between public fascination and personal freedom. What's remarkable isn't just their anatomy, it's their determination. They've shattered the expectations of medical textbooks, overcome the judgment of strangers, and endured the weight of questions no one else on earth has had to answer. And through it all, they've shown a kind of grace the internet rarely rewards: restraint. The TikTok that sparked global headlines, married and baby on the way, may never be explained. Was it literal? Symbolic? A quiet message meant only for those who followed their journey with compassion? In truth, it doesn't matter, because whether they're preparing for motherhood or simply celebrating the milestones that matter to them, the Hensel twins have already redefined what it means to live fully, to love deeply, and to be understood on their own terms. Their story isn't over. In fact, it's far from it. Every day, they wake up and walk in step. Two minds in harmony, two voices navigating a world that still struggles to see them clearly. They teach children, inspire researchers, and challenge a culture that too often mistakes visibility for belonging. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Not whether a pregnancy is biologically possible, not whether marriage laws stretch to fit their circumstance, but that the very questions we ask say more about us than they do about Abby and Brittany. Because while we debate what's normal, they continue to show us what's possible. In the end, their lives aren't just a medical mystery or a social media headline. They're a testament to strength, to unity, and to the quiet power of choosing your own path. Whatever comes next, another viral post, a new chapter in their marriage, or perhaps even a child, the Hensel twins will face it the way they've always faced everything: together.